my little drawing tool out here. All right. What's the total cost of paving a driveway 15 feet wide, 40 feet long, and 4 inches thick if the concrete to be used costs $60 per cubic yard and labor costs $125 per square foot? All right, so we got a lot of different wacky units of measure here. Okay, so here's the first thing that we have to deal with. I got 15 feet wide, I got 40 feet long, and I got 4 inches deep. Feet, inches, not gonna work. Amina, you cold? I am. I was gonna put my hood up too, but I thought that'd be a little too hacker. All right, so we gotta translate this into yards, right? Because I got 15 feet, 40 feet, and 4 inches. So 4 inches is 1/3 of a foot, right? Yes, it is, Mark. Very good. All right, so 0.33 feet. That's what we got to deal with. So we got to make that calculation first off. So far, so good? So now it tells me that. So first I got to figure out how many cubic feet I got because I'm dealing with feet, right? So I take that 15 feet times 40 feet times 0.33 feet, and I come up with 198 cubic feet. But concrete costs $60 per cubic yard. Damn it. So now I got to convert this 198 cubic feet to cubic yards. You do that by dividing by 27. 3 times 3 times 3. See it?
Can I just say, this is too much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if this is too much, wait, we haven't even gotten there yet.
This is too much. What? I'm blacking out. I don't know. I'm dumping coffee all over myself. Somebody help me.
There are certain questions I'm going to tell you just skip. This is not one of them, though. You'll get this one. This is not bad.
I have no idea what you just said. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what your yards, meters, cubic feet.
You're very much on board. Very good. You're right on board. Okay. So look, I came up with 198 cubic feet, right? Right? I multiplied these three numbers. I came up with 198. That's cubic feet, right? Because we got to deal with feet. But the concrete is measuring cubic yards. So I got to convert feet to yards. And this is how you do that. You divide by 27. Just remember that. That's all.
Kind of take a step back. 0.33. Basically, you got that 4 inches, and you divide by the cubic.
That's correct, right? That 4 inches right there. That 4 inches right there, right? That's 4 inches is 1/3 of a foot.
Yeah.
Make sense?
So that's when you got 33. So then you multiplied it.
Correct.
You got 198, right?
Correct. And that's my cubic feet.
27 is that because there's 3 sets of the cube, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 equals 27.
Yep.
Okay. Does that help, Sandra?
If you could see her eyes like I can, you'd know it does not.
No, that's a lot. Listen.
Yeah, I'll take all the help I can get.
I did math in college, all right? That's the way I passed, all right?
Just work with me here. All right, so I take my cubic yards, right, and the excuse me, the materials are $60 per cubic yard. So that tells me for the concrete cost me $444. Excuse me. And I got to pay installation costs of $1.25 per square foot. When I'm doing square feet, all I need is this. I don't need the depth. So all I need is 15 times 40. Right? That's 600 square feet times $1.25 gives me $750. So the total is $1,194. Ta-da! Come on, that wasn't bad. Come on. It was a lot of steps. I agree. The problem with problems like this is they take time. And time is going to be not your friend.
So the test is timed?
Oh, yeah.
For how long do we have?
48 minutes. No, I'm just kidding you. You have like 3 hours to do the test, okay?
All right. And isn't 3 hours usually sufficient, or do people run out of time?
I can only tell you about my test, okay? And I can tell you in my test, I have had people finish my test in half an hour. Okay, I have also learned this in my illustrious teaching career. I'm not telling you that I'm any good at it, just that I've been doing it for a long time, okay? I was telling my wife one time, I could give a final exam that had 2 questions on it, true and false. And if I gave people 3 hours to do it, some rat bastard would take 3 hours to do it, okay? This is what I've learned. So what I mean to say is for those of you that on the final test, my final test, those of you that want to take the whole time, knock yourself out. I don't care. Okay, I'll be sitting here like a moron reading a book or something while you do it. I'll be watching you closely. That's what I meant to say. Gotta have your camera on for my final test. Just saying. All right, so we're about as good with that as we're going to be. So remember that we've got to use the same units of measure. That's the important part of this thing. Now, if it makes you feel any better, Cassandra, the first time that I did this on the board with a class, I had a guy who was a contractor sitting in the back, and he goes, "No, Mark, you're wrong." What do you mean I'm wrong? Mark, if you're right, there's going to have to be about 17 concrete trucks that come to that house to make that driveway, okay? You're wrong. Figure it out. Okay, good enough. I have somebody who's a contractor. They know what they're talking about. Clearly, I do not. All right, let's move along. Unless you want me to do it again, I'll do it again. Baby, I'll do this all night. I don't care. All right, moving along. All right, question 8. Nice little total part rate TPR question. Bring it right back home. An owner agrees to list his property on a condition that he will receive at least $47,300. Yeah, $47,300 after paying a 5% broker's commission and paying $1,150 in closing costs. All right, so he's got to get $47,300 on this deal, right? All right, so he's got to get $47,300, but he's also got to get the $1,150, right? Because he's got to put that out, so he's got to get that back as well. So that makes your part $48,450. Make sense? So he wants to get this in his pocket, but he's also going to have to pay that, so he's going to have to get that as well. So that's our $48,450. He's got to pay you a 5% commission, right? So how much is he going to get on this deal? He's only going to get 95% of the sales price on this deal. So how much are they going to have to sell that house for? $48,450 divided by 95%. Excuse me. That gives us $51,000. Right? You should be fairly comfortable with that by now. We did a few of those bad boys. Come on. The only difference in this problem, no, it's not really a difference. Never mind. I don't even go there. Everybody good? Questions, comments, complaints? I could take it. Go ahead. All right. All right, question 9. Gift shop pays $600 per month plus 2.5% of gross annual sales. Now, read the question carefully, right? $600 per month plus 2.5% of gross annual sales in excess of $50,000. What's the average monthly rent if the gross annual sales were $75,000? Okay, so $600 a month. $600 a month plus 2.5% annual sales in excess of $50,000. All right. So the annual sales were $75,000, right? Less than 50 because it's in excess of 50. That means they got to pay 2.5% on 25,000. Capiche? Cassandra? Okay. All right. They have to pay 2.5% on sales in excess of $50,000, right? How much in excess of $50,000 did they sell? $25,000, right? They sold 75 total. They sold 75 total. They have to pay 2.5% on amounts over $50,000. $25,000 is how much they made over $50,000. Yes, no, indifferent?
Yep.
Let me move on. So, They paid 2.5% on that. That means they had to pay an additional $625 annually in rent. Now I got to make that into a monthly figure because the question asks how much they have to pay per month, right? They had to pay $600 plus $625 divided by 12, which gives us $52.08, which means their monthly rent is $652.08.
I have a question.
Sure.
The 25,000, it's multiplied by the percentage, right? Not divided.
Oh, shoot. Yes, you're right.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, sorry. Let me make a note that I got to fix the slide. Damn it, how do we ever practice law without Lilio stickies?
Are we doing this math all night long?
Nope.
Thank God.
Yep. For me too. No, this is our first hour. We'll get through an hour. And then next Thursday, we'll do another hour. Until you got it down. It's gonna be fine. It'll be fine. Relax.
We could start a drinking game on this.
Yeah, I got no. We'd all be done by now. Listen, I had to go through it this afternoon, so I was sure that I was up to it. I'd have been done. All right. You ready? Sure, Mark. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right. Need the same time frames. Look at the question. Look, it's the last question on this page. Look, see, you got through a page already. Bada bing, as we say in Italian. All right. A tenant's monthly rent is 8.25. What is rent as a percentage of annual income of $41,000? All right. So in this case, you either got to convert both of them to monthly numbers, or you got to convert both of them to annual numbers. No matter, you come up with the same deal, right? So let's do monthly first. I should have done it that way. All right, so my monthly income is $825. If we want to do percentage of annual income, I take my annual income, $41,000, and I divide that by 12 because we're dealing with monthly numbers right now. And my monthly amount then, my monthly number is this, $34.16. Right? I take the $825, I divide that, excuse me, into $34.16. What do I come up with? 24%. Or 0.24 on your calculator, right? So that's if we calculate this as monthly. Now we can do the same thing as an annual number if you like, simply enough, right? We keep our 41,000 in that case, and we change our rent to an annual amount, right? Simply by taking the monthly amount, 8.25. Multiply that by 12 gives us $9,900. Divide the 9,900 into the 41,000. What do you come up with? 24%. All right. The point being, you got to have the same unit of measure. Right. So if I'm going to deal with annuals, I deal with annuals. If I'm going to deal with monthly, I deal with monthly. The only exception to that rule is a rate is always an annual number. Annual, monthly. Okay, does that make sense? Don't you wish they were all like that? That's an easy one, huh, Cassandra? That's an easy one. Come on. This is the question I like to call the attrition question. Two brokers split the 6% commission on a sale of a $324,000 home. The selling broker's sales associate was paid 70% of the selling broker's share. The listing broker sales associate was paid 30% of the listing broker's share. How much did the listing broker sales associate receive? I think the question is worded wrong because a listing broker and a selling broker are the same thing. But nonetheless, I get their point. All right, so we got our 324, which is our sale of the house, right? Everybody good with that? Yes, Mark, we're good with that. Very good, students. 6% commission gives us a total commission of $19,440. They split that. That would be divided by 2. So each broker gets $9,720. The listing sales associate gets 30% of that. What do they get? Hold on, I have to yell at my kid for a minute. Okay, that make sense? The reason I call this the attrition question is because you look at that and you go, ooh, $19,000. Yeah, that's a good day. And when it's all said and done, you come up with just under $3,000. By the way, the IRS is taking a third of that. Just saying. All right, everybody good with that? Does that make sense? Questions, comments, complaints? Anybody? Anybody? Sandra? Bueller? No?
I think I'm just gonna start drinking right now.
All right, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. All right, moving along. All right, find an. Sorry. Come on. There we go. Find a number of square. Listen, I'm a guy. Guys are visuals, so I have to draw this out. Find a number of square feet in a lot with a frontage of 75 feet 6 inches and a depth of 140 feet 9 inches. Okay. 140 feet 9 inches is 140.75. 9 inches is 3/4 of a foot. 75 feet 6 inches, that's 75 feet and a half. Right? 6 inches is half a foot. You cannot multiply feet and inches. You got to either all feet or all inches. Right, so square footage on that bad boy, 10,626,625, which I think is B. Right? For those of you that have the proper book. 10, 6, 2, 6, 6, 2, 5.
Yeah, it's B.
Okay, thank you. She's killing me, man, the kid. She's killing me. I love her, and she's killing me. And I heard from a 34-year-old today. Killing me. And a 24-year-old smashed up her mama's car. Whatever. Sorry, welcome to my world. I know this isn't what you signed up for, but this is what you get. All
I
right.
think that's everybody's world with kids.
The toys just get more expensive, right? Isn't that what they say? All right, question 13, net operating income question. Nice and easy. We've done this one before. Now, the problem with this net operating income question is you got to work to come up with the part. Okay, let me just read it and then we'll take you through it. 28-unit apartment house is being valued using the income approach, right? That's net operating income. Each unit rents for $775 a month, consistent with like rental units. All right. For the past 5 years, that means nothing. The annual expenses are $82,460. The building has maintained a consistent vacancy rate of 5%. Potential investor is only interested if the cap rate is at least 9.5%. What's the value? All right, here's where you got to work for it. Relax, Cassandra. I just saw your eyes get really big. All right. I got. Well, it's easier to see. All right, I got 28 units at $775 a month, right? So, which gives me a total of $21,700 per month. But listen, cap rates, right? That's annual. So you got to deal with annuals. So I multiply that times 12. That tells me that the annual income to this property is $260,400. So far, so good? So far, so good? So far, so good? Okay. I'm not believing you, but okay.
Very good. Yes.
Does it make some quantum of intellectual sense? That's all I can really hope for.
Yes.
No? Okay. Moving along. It's got a 5% vacancy rate, right? So I take out 5% times 0.95. So that means that our actual income, right, annually is $247,380. But there's expenses. My annual expenses are $82,460. So I got to back that out right here. And that's how I come up with net operating income. My net operating income is $164,920. Right? So my annual income less whatever the vacancy rate is, less expenses, that's net. Right? This is gross. This is also gross. Yep.
So I see where you got 260 and 400, and you're taking the 5%, which is the vacancy. Why you're multiplying with 0.95? That's the rate of
Just
vacancy,
multiply.
or not the rate.
Yeah, that would give us what the annual income is less the vacancy amount. Right, so this is like an either or, whatever makes you happy, however you want to do that calculation.
Okay, so you don't have to put them both. You just put either minus 5%
That's correct,
or
yes.
times it. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Thank you.
right. Then I back out my expenses. This is my net operating income. I multiply that times my cap rate, excuse me, which in this case is 9.5%, and that tells me that the property's got to be valued at $1,736,000 or C in order for this to be viable for this buyer. 13. I have a couple more to go here. Cheat sheet. Okay, relax. Relax. Take a deep breath. Relax. This is not as bad as it looks, I promise. None of them are. How much interest will the seller owe to buyer for a closing date on August 10th if the outstanding loan balance is $43,580? The interest rate on this assumable loan is 6%, and the last payment was paid on August 1st. Prorations are to be done through the date of closing using a statutory year. Okay. Nice and easy. So, my principal amount here is $43,580. We got it right there, right? Our interest rate is 6%. That gives me our annual interest amount is $2,614.80. That's how much we pay per year on this loan. We're using a statutory year. Every month has 30 days. Right? That gives us a per diem, a daily interest amount of $7.26. When the buyer pays the September 1st payment, okay, you with me? When the buyer pays the September 1st payment, that pays all of August interest. So far, so good? But the seller was in the property for the first 10 days, August 1st, August 10th. So the seller has to pay back to the buyer an amount equal to that, August 1st to August 10th, 10 days. Right? So it's $72.60. or whatever's closest, A in this case. Go ahead, I can take it, ask.
So there's no opportunities for extra credit. That's what you're saying. All right. I mean, all right. I'm looking at it. Sure, whatever. That's how you got the answer. Me doing this on my own, like on a test, like yes, 43 580 times 6% equals this divided by. That's not happening. There's no way. I can't even help my 9-year-old with his math. I'm like, listen, you better go back to school and ask your teacher for help.
No, this is not Common Core. This is normal human math right here. No, this is not Common Core. Relax. This is much easier than having to draw a grid and put the. I don't understand that at all. I'm to the point. I have a 9-year-old. I go no. Ask your mother. I don't know. I got nothing.
Is a statutory year used commonly or no?
No.
Okay.
Not anymore in the computer age. I don't even know why we're dealing with statutory years here, but if they want me to show it to you, I got to show it to you.
Thanks.
Okay. Nice and easy, I promise. Nice and easy. So this question, we haven't gotten this far yet, but that's okay. Points are 1% of the loan amount. The origination fee is 1% of the loan amount. Okay? The buyer agrees to $175,000 sales price, 2.5 loan discount points, and a 1% loan origination fee. Buyer gets a 90% loan. Okay, so I got $175,000 purchase price. I got a loan for 90%. That's $157,500. Right? Cassandra, you got to be with me so far, right? They got a loan for 90%. Loan for 90% of the purchase price. So the loan amount is $157,500. How many points in origination fee they got to pay? 3.5% on $157,500. What they want you to be able to take from this question is it's based on the loan amount, not on the purchase price. And that gives us $5,512.50. Consider this, okay? That's a lot of money. And if you're dealing with a buyer client who's going to have to borrow money, right, you got to advise them about stuff like this. Right? And it might not be a bad idea for you to have some handle on when they're looking at a loan that's going to charge them 3.5 points. There's not a problem with you going, dude, if you get this loan for $150,000, you're going to have to pay $5,000 just for the privilege of borrowing. Right? So that they know they're not getting $150,000, they're getting $5,000 less than that. So they're going to have to calculate that into the amount that they got to bring to the closing. All right, Cassandra, you're going to zone out on this one, right?
So,
Yeah,
kind of, this is towards the closing cost, or is it like the buyer has to pay?
This is what the buyer has to pay. So what's going to happen is when they do this borrowing, right, the bank is going to deduct this amount from the amount that they cut them a check for. They're going to back that out of that amount. So while your client thinks they're going to get get a check, right, for $157,500, they're not. They're going to get a check for $157,500 less $5,500.
Okay, so this is coming from for the seller. But if you're a buyer,
no, that's a buyer calculation.
Okay.
Right. This is buyer as borrower. Right? correct. When you're buying, unless you're coming to the closing table with cash, right? If you're going to borrow money in order to buy, then this goes into that calculation.
Yeah, and it'll vary from lender to lender.
It will.
You can go
Yeah, it
shopping,
will.
some are no points, some are more, and then your
That's
interest
correct.
rate
And
goes
in some
down.
cases, we'll be talking about that shortly. In some cases, you can buy down the amount of the interest by paying more points up front and vice versa. So that's something that frankly, me personally, right, I think you need to be familiar with that so that you can just advise your client appropriately. I think a lot of, particularly first-time buyer people, they don't know this. Right? Listen, as I said to you before, right? With any luck, you'll do 2, 3, 4 closings a month, whatever. Your client will do it once in their life, maybe twice, 3 times in their life. Right? They don't get it. You'll get it. And so you got to advise them. Just my thought. I think that's part of just being a good agent, being a good representative for your client. All right, let's do another.
Is there anybody in the kitchen?
Question 16. Calculate 8 months interest on a $5,000 interest-only loan at 9.5%. 8 months. Now, there's probably an easier way to do this, but I'm kind of a moron, so we're going to do it my way. It's $5,000 loan and 9.5% interest. That means we're paying an annual amount of interest of $475. Right? That's how much we pay per year for the privilege of having borrowed $5,000.
Can you ask one of the kids that are bring me a couple
If
of
I
crackers or something?
make that into a monthly figure, it's $39.58 a month. The question says, how much is 8 months interest? So I take that monthly number, multiply it by 8 months. There's probably a more streamlined way to do that, but I don't know what it is. We'll do one more. I'm going to do this one because it's a horrid, horrid question. 100-acre farm is, okay, so an acre, let's start with this, right? This is one of the few numbers that you just got to have in your brain, okay? An acre is 43,560 square feet. You just got to know that in your brain. 43,560. So a 100-acre farm, which is 4,356,000 square feet, is subdivided into lots for homes. The streets require 1/8 of the entire property. All right, so let's do that. The streets require 1/8 of the entire property. 1/8 is 0.125. So 1/8 of the entire property, and by the way, you get that by dividing 8 into 1. I'm sorry, 1 into 8. Right, 1 divided by 8, yeah. So this is the amount of the streets or whatever, which leaves us with this much, 3,811,000. I'll fix that too. What's that? It's like 34. Okay, the remaining acreage, which is that 3,811,000 figure, right? The remaining acreage is divided into 140 lots of approximately the same size, divided by 140 lots. Oops, here we go. Divided by 140 lots. About how many square feet are in each lot? Okay? Now, I see that you're starting to weep. Some of you are well past that. Why don't you go and take 5 minutes, relax, stretch a little bit, and we'll look at the purchase and sale contracts when we come back.